back here on the dais, and you can follow along with us. The first item of business is a public hearing for the FY 2022 budget. So Pete, I'll turn that over to you for that presentation.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Steve, if you'll do a check, sound check, okay, good, thanks. Okay, this is a public hearing on the FY 2022 budget for public comments. We'll turn to the public to see if there are any comments to be made. It doesn't appear, Mayor, that there are any comments.
I thought people would line up to be excited that there's no millage increase, but I guess I was wrong.
Well,
There are two other options, always a value.
yeah.
Yes.
Nevertheless, I do have just a couple updates.
Okay.
I did leave at your seat. We went through, based off the comments that you made in the work session we had last week. This is a kind of a tally of where we are. The budget is in check. We did add 3% raises for employees, and you could see that that's $187,000. But if you'd like to bring that forward in January of 2022, whatever your pleasure, that would be half that amount. So I wanted to carry it, so make sure it's in the document. So whenever you're ready to move that forward, it'll be in the budget. And then we added an additional $400,000 contribution in retirement. That was part of the commitment. So in addition to the required payments of $791,000, we'll be putting just over $1 million of additional monies into the retirement for a total of $1.8 million into the retirement. The two changes, everything else is covered. The two changes will be taken from the reserve funds in the amount of $587,086. So that is the only change. You could see the budget line items for the budget itself. Again, has not changed at the bottom line of $43 million. Then that changes to the funds below that with the additional increases. That's how it changed those particular funds. If you like, we could go through the document, but it is exactly what you saw, except for the couple of adjustments. So all in all, this is a balanced budget and a very good budget. And we're waiting for the last piece, which is the actual digest. I did talk to Chad Alexander today, and we will hopefully have those numbers by June 23rd to make a final determination based on the millage rate and what we're talking about as far as accurate numbers with our growth this particular year. But as far as the document, it is ready to go if you are.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments with those changes that we've already really discussed in the previous presentation? So
I'm good.
I'm good. Okay. MJ, you good? Okay.
Mayor and Council, also, let me just do, this has nothing to do with the budget, but I also put another paper with with the budget update. This happens to be the annual budget of the Tifton County Tourism Association. If you remember, I talked about it at our meeting. Again, with hotel motels sinking, it is sent the tourism board. Obviously scrambling for monies. Nothing has been regular, and it has taken its toll. And I did speak at a board meeting earlier this year, and again, we didn't know what to expect. I do feel very confident that things are rebounding very nicely, but when you line up budget year over year, you could see on the bottom I highlighted they were projecting a budget of $638,000 compared to $739,000 after their expenditures. And I'd make my recommendation at this time that we do have CARES money that is available to use for economic development. I think tourism is exactly that avenue. So if it is your desire, if you are ready, we can make them whole and using that money for this particular year to get tourism and economic development back on track. And that would be my recommendation to you.
Okay. Is that something we would need to vote on or just make the recommendation that you do that? And I'd like to y'all weigh in.
Well, remember last meeting, I made the comment, you and, the chairman and county manager and city manager were gonna be meeting.
Right.
Did you guys ever discuss maybe the county also contributing some CARES Act money to it? To help the tourism, because tourism helps.
Well, it
the
helps
entire county.
everybody, that's
Right.
true.
We did mention it. We had a couple minute conversation, and I'm not sure if it got any traction.
They were checking on to see exactly what their funding was and what they were gonna get. Now, we did go ahead and schedule another meeting with them that will happen this month, so we can follow back up, or I can certainly call, the county commission chairman and ask them if they've made a decision yet, but they were non-committal at that point.
Did the funding number, did the calculations on how the CARES Act money is supposed to be distributed, did that change at all since we've last met? Because somebody was telling me that formula changed.
Not on the CARES. I mean, we're still waiting for specifics on the relief funds, but the first CARES money and, the monies that we received, the county did receive the same type, just a little more.
Maybe I'm wrong
but-
on that, but I thought someone had.
Yeah,
commented
CARES money, the first one, we have to spend it in certain forms or fashions, like the safety, the COVID, the hazard pay we did, and we're going to turn that into a safety application this year, so that meets it. Anything we need to buy for COVID materials, anything regarding health and wellness, and then there's a way to recoup economic development and tourism dollars because of the loss. So this is $117,000, give or take, and we did mention that. So if they chip in, then that'd be great.
I mean, to me, they ought to chip in half of it. I mean, I don't want to give the whole 100, I don't think we should fund the entire shortfall 100%. What's the makeup of that board, the tourism board, from city, city residents versus, or city appointed ones versus county appointed? Do you know that?
I know we have two
Yeah,
appointees.
there's 2 city appointees, 2 county appointees, 2 hotel motel association appointees, and then someone from the Chamber of Commerce. Usually it's the chamber president, but not always.
Okay.
And that's how that board is made up.
Kind of split 50-50, and so, I mean, to me, I think we go to them and say, hey, the shortfall is this, we'll put up half, you put up half, tourism is whole, now, and see what happens. They're either in for it or they're not.
Yeah,
I
okay.
always play games with them, so.
That's fair.
Any other comments on the tourism funding? Okay, so we would not need to necessarily vote on that, just make that recommendation to fund half of it. Need to vote on it? Okay. Okay. Is it okay to do that tonight or at the next meeting? How do we need to do that? Rob?
I suggest we do that at the next meeting after we have it on the agenda.
Okay.
That'll give us some time to confirm with the county, and then we'll know
Right.
exact amounts.
Okay, so we know, it sounds like then we'll be approving, or expected to approve at least half of the contribution unless we find out anything different that would shed light, so. All right, do you want to check with Mr. Carter, or do you want me to call?
I'll be glad to do it.
Okay.
I'll be glad to do it.
I think both.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any other comments, questions concerning the tourism budget? Hey, Johnny,
Just for the record, I want
how you doing?
the Atlanta Journal-Constitution did have an article about some metro cities were surprised that the American Rescue Plan funds were slashed. So that's where I was getting that information from.
Okay.
It doesn't say anything about South Georgia at all, but it looks like a lot of those metro cities.
The metro
didn't
cities,
get there what they initially were proposed versus what they actually were awarded.
that's exactly right.
Okay.
All right.
All right. All right, anything else for the public hearing? All right. Do we need to wait till 5:30 to start the workshop?
I don't think so, Mayor.
Okay. All right. Pete, you want to close out the public hearing, or do I need to do that?
You can do that.
Okay. All right, we will close out the public hearing then unless there's any other comments to come before the council regarding the 2022 budget. All right, we will call to order our workshop, and I will remind you that the workshop, we will not be voting on any items other than the approval of the agenda. And following the workshop, we will have a special called meeting where we will discuss the mask requirement in city buildings and reopening city facilities.
We need to add that, about the carriers.
No, we're going to do that at the next meeting.
Next meeting.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, so that way we have a chance to follow up with Mr. Carter and Mr. McGuire, so, yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, all right, so we have called to order the workshop, and you have the agenda in front of you, and of course, Jessica always does a great job of sending this out in plenty of time for our review. So I'll take a motion on the agenda.
Move to approve.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll move on along. I know, I see the chief pacing back there.
Okay.
What's that?
Here. I think we're waiting, Mayor, for
Okay.
someone to show up. If
Right.
you want to go to Lynn Lovett, that would be
Okay,
easy.
all right. Lynn, were you speaking tonight to the, no, she wasn't going to.
Oh, you weren't, excuse me.
No, she's just here, so, no, okay. Let's move on to new business. Adam, do you want to come talk to us about the bids for the wastewater treatment plant?
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
We had put out bids for some upgrades to our wastewater plant and one of our lift stations. We had the bids come back in range. The low bid was $1,524,000, and got some photos with Stephen. Just to kind of give you an idea of what we're doing, but we will be replacing a bar screen at the headworks of our wastewater plant. We'll also be replacing the grit basin pumps to remove the grit. We'll also be putting in some new aerators, screens on the aerators, and then in the aeration basins, and then we'll also have some upgrades in the digester as well. These may be some foreign words, but it's all the inner workings to make sure that we produce a quality output for our wastewater plant. And then also on the Southwest Lift Station, we'll be putting in some new pumps, and they're grinding pumps, and they will be able to grind the big rags and things like that when it comes through that stop at the pumps a lot of times. So we're just asking to move forward with that bid on that wastewater upgrades.
Mayor and Council, if you remember, this is part of the GFA grant that we did secure. This is for, again, instruments and proponents of what runs the wastewater plant each and every day. Very, very critical. And what I was thinking, it's time, I'd love to take you on a field trip, and it's time to see all the upgrades to the wastewater treatment plant, and maybe we could do that in July. And we'll get word out just as quick as we can, and I'd love to take and show you all the improvements and let you see that what Adam and Tommy have been doing at the plant. So we'll plan that for the next, or for the near future.
Okay.
Okay. Stephen, you got the pictures?
Let's see the first one. I believe the first one is,
Yes.
I believe the first one is that is the water screen area. That's the first location for us to remove large material off the wastewater. And then the next picture will be the grit basin, and that's where we remove dirt and debris of that nature out of the wastewater, so that we're basically just treating the water itself and not having dirt fill our basins. And then the last picture on that is our aeration basin. And that's where the majority of the work of the treatment plant happens. And that's the area where we will be replacing the screens on the fine woven aeration blowers in the bottom of the basin.
Okay. All right, any questions, comments for Adam? All right, good job. Do you want to just stay there because you have, you have the next item as well, review of the bid for the 2021 LMIG resurfacing.
Can we get back to our screens?
Okay, what's that?
We probably won't.
Yeah.
We got the pictures, we don't have the,
I missed that, I'm sorry.
no, wait,
We got to get back to our,
Oh,
we don't have our documents.
okay. We are ready.
Next item is LMIG resurfacing. As you all well know, we're trying to get out ahead of this one as well. This is for FY21, and we're looking to resurface several roads that we've already looked at and presented to you guys. And we put the bids out, they come back, and the apparent low bidder is East Coast Asphalt, $671,641.85. You got the list of streets that will be resurfaced, and Watkins and Associates, Stacy Watkins Engineering Group, will be being our project management on that job, and so we look for another good set of roads to be repaired and back to some good working order.
Okay. Any questions on the road list or?
This
The bid
East
process?
Coast, East Coast is one we've used previously. We had trouble with them one time, this last time. Were they better than they had been?
Correct. We've spoken with Stacy Watkins, and since he's gonna be the engineer managing this project, he said that he has no problem being a hard nose and making sure that everything is as it should be. Plus, there's also some good numbers in there, elevated numbers for liquidated damages, which if the contract goes beyond the time frame given, then liquidated damages ensues after that. For a certain period of time, it's, I believe it's $250 a day, and then after, I believe 2 weeks, it goes up to $1,000 or, I can't remember what, I don't have a contract from it, but it goes up to an exorbitant amount, and which will really encourage the completion of the project in time.
Oh, are we having to pay him to manage?
There is a sum that goes into that for his engineering and the project management, yes.
Okay, so would we, is he gonna manage it because we've had trouble with them, or is that normal? If we used anybody else, we wouldn't have to manage them, or?
No, that's a normal thing to utilize engineers for services rendered, when you're looking in beyond just some generic projects where ESG normally would manage. When it goes a little beyond that, for more detailed design and things of that nature, engineers come in, step in and do that portion of project
So,
management
he's correct, but we'll be watching this particular company very closely. Paving should commence in July, is what we're understanding.
Okay. All right, you've got that packet in your packet. So do y'all have any other questions or comments for Adam concerning the LMIG funding? All right, we will move on. Thank you, Adam, appreciate that. All right, our next item on our agenda under new business is discussion of Downtown Development Authority projects, and I saw Trey come in. So Trey, we'll turn it over to you to talk about Commerce Way and what's happening there, and Abby, our Downtown Development Director's here if there are any specific questions on that.
Yeah.
Good evening, how's everyone?
Good, how are you?
Mayor, council, it's a pleasure to be in front of you. Do I need to keep this on while I'm on mic?
You're okay, you can take it off.
Okay.
You're okay.
Good. Do you see graphics in front of you?
Hold on. Yep. We've got a picture of Commerce Way as it looks now.
So I did the first, the Commerce Way picture,
Fantastic.
and then the overlay, and then the schematics.
Okay, great. So we have been chipping away at this project for a month or so and have been in front of the Downtown Development Authority Board as well with this concept. The idea is 2 or 3-fold as to what we're trying to accomplish. And this is Commerce Way just down from City Hall going back towards the highway. So we are, number one, trying to make sure that everything's handicap accessible along that route. Number 2, what we have right now is kind of a 2-tier sidewalk with kind of irregular steps between. And what we're trying to do is to provide a more aesthetically pleasing concept and solution for that area. Make it handicap accessible to the buildings and the restaurants. Many of these are being improved right now. And our goal is to, while we're doing this, is enhance. Right now, the parking spaces are angled, going in one direction, and are a little shorter. So what ends up happening is that larger trucks end up parking and are kind of hanging out into the roadway for folks moving north. And the concept that we're looking for here with the Development Authority at the helm is to make this, and Pete as well at the helm, is to make this be kind of an entryway to downtown. The thought process here is that we want it aesthetically pleasing. We want areas of trees and gardens, but also what we're wanting to do here is to prepare for the possibility of food trucks and activities out. We've got the nice parking lot out on Commerce Way now. And also to provide public dining areas. So these will not be attached specifically to restaurants, but in our view, and I've got a little bit of documentation I'll pass out to you that you can take home with you if you're interested. But in our view, parking, because of the parking spaces across the way, parking is not quite at the premium as it sometimes can be. And the thought is to sacrifice a few spaces for these outdoor dining areas is really going to provide kind of an energetic, kind of an atmosphere in downtown Tifton that things are going on. And that's exactly what we want to try to get out there. So this concept of these outdoor spaces in downtown communities for eating outside is really picking up steam, mainly because of COVID. And most cities have implemented some sorts of what they're calling parklets, which is a phrase that I didn't know until I started researching this project. But in so many of these cities, Miami, Athens, Georgia, and all the way in between, they are taking out parking spaces and putting impromptu dining areas outside because of the restrictions within restaurants. And across the board, most cities are adopting to keep them because they've been so wildly popular. So I want to walk you through kind of the concept that we came up with. We do like the idea of going to one way. And the reason is, in areas like this where you have concentration of pedestrians, parking, dining, and a vibrant kind of downtown corridor, we do want to slow traffic down and we want to limit traffic. So the concept, I'm going to pass these out. Is that okay?
Sure. Stephen, go to the next picture, please.
I'm going to place over your shoulder just to see what you're doing.
Sure.
That's the schematic.
Okay. Go to the one that's kind of a rendering, 3D rendering, if you will. There you go. Okay, let's stop there. Does everybody see that? So this is a rendering that my office threw together for, not what I'm handing you right now, I'm about to get to this, but do you all see the rendering on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this kind of gives you an idea, yeah, and then turn one page on what I just handed you. This is downtown Macon, and this is down at Mercer University. And what I want to point out is the concept here is exactly like what we have for Commerce Way, where you have 2 different elevations of sidewalks. And the concept that they utilize is I actually designed it, but the wall itself that is between the 2 is also a planner. And so we use the wall to organize pedestrian flow to certain junctures. And if you look at you can kind of see on this graphic, you know, planters and then this running wall. The high visibility crosswalk is another thing that you can see on this graphic that I handed to you on page 2. And that just gives you a really good idea of kind of what this is going to look like and what the concept is. You don't have, this is about a 4-step differential in elevation between the sidewalks. We're going to have closer to 2 steps, something like that, but you can kind of glean the concept. And then if you look at your screens and look at the 3-dimensional rendering, what we're taking is around 3 spaces per cafe, if you will, or this outdoor dining area, which happens to be customary of what cities all around are currently doing. It's about a 3 parking space that provides a good area for having seating and tables and the like. You can see the high visibility crosswalk, planted areas. So it's the entire corridor ends up being improved. If you look at the schematic view, which may be
Next picture.
yeah, there you go. I don't know if you like to read plans, but this is kind of the engineering drawing of what we're trying to get across. And this will be quickly expanded to a full design once we have everybody's buy-off. But the critical thing we're really hearing before mayor and council today is concerning consideration to go to one way. Correct me if I'm wrong, Pete. That's the main. Is just a general buy-off on the idea, and then also to for you to consider going one way, moving north is what we'd like to do.
That'll be a lot safer coming off of Highway 82.
That's correct. And again, I've had this conversation, both Abby and I did with the DDA board, and as of last week, she could stop me if I'm wrong, but the DDA board is in full alignment with that. Again, everybody's not going to be 100% on board, but this is from what the design, what we want to do in downtown, from aesthetics. This seems to be the best application that we could get for Commerce Way. I really agree with Trey. This is kind of looking as the gateway, and as we improve and businesses and apartments continue to trend in that way, it'll be really well done. So Abby, is that a correct statement still? We good? Okay. So Trey, again, it's 6 1, half dozen the other, but what obviously the DDA board can't vote to do a one-way concept. That's why it's before you. And we just need to give Trey direction to plan it either 2-way or 1-way, and we keep on going, because if he has that authorization, then we could get this thing done and put out to bid.
Okay.
And to be clear, the conversion from 2-way to 1-way really is not a sacrifice of parking spaces. If you look at where we're at now, we have 2-way with 1-way, only angled parking in the direction we're already wanting to go.
Mm-hmm.
We are actually adding and replacing most of the spaces that we'd be eating up by adding parallel parking along the opposite side, over on the parking lot side of the road, or the west side. So I think we're probably overall losing a few spaces, but it's in my opinion that if I were a business owner along that corridor, I'd be delighted with this work. And it is going to be a major enhancement to every business, and for everyone who's starting to improve those properties, it's pretty exciting.
Well, and that street is so visible from 3rd Street all the way back out to Highway 82. You can see every aspect of that road. So it really is a very visible corridor in our downtown. So,
And lastly, I will say that Trey has designed this either way, that we are going to correct the stormwater. So when it gets a good rain, there's a good little river that ponds in front of the businesses. So we're going to upsize and fix that along the way.
okay. Johnny, this is, I think, in your district. Any questions that you have, or anything you need to know about?
No.
You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I have some questions,
You know
Yes,
where to
sir.
find Trey.
The one way from 82 to 3rd Street, it's
correct.
not all the way to that yield sign, right? Or am I thinking of the wrong street?
No, you're on the right street.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
So Trey, what he's asking, this stretch from 3rd Street over to the yield sign where you go into Central, would that stay two-way there?
Yep.
So you could come up to Third and turn on Third, so,
Just the one block.
just that one block right here. Mhm.
If you think about what's great, people turn off 82, come into Commerce Way, take it a left and go into the Commerce Way parking lot, which is great, park, and when they come out, they just continue on
Right.
to the light.
Okay,
Very-
The front page of this document is just to kind of give you a little bit of extra information. Yeah, this kind of shows you what the feel will be. Obviously, we don't have the offset, but, you know, the dining will be a little bit offset off of the main entrance of the restaurant. It's kind of more outside, and I think I've given you everything you need to kind of understand what it's going to look like. Hopefully you like it.
okay.
Okay.
All right, any
Everybody
questions of
comfortable
Trey?
with that?
I think we're good, yeah.
I gotta have movement. Abby, you good?
Yes, I'm good. I mean, that street has been neglected for a long time, and that's no fault of anybody. It's just the lack of investment and things, so the safety, element to this is really exciting too, so.
And there's a lot of private development going on that street, and we'll talk about some of that in just a minute. So it's a good public-private partnership where we're enhancing the viability of our businesses
Okay.
that will be on that road, so.
All right.
Okay.
Trey, I think you have your orders now, so we're in that
Ready to roll?
direction. Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Trey.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go back and catch up with our agenda. I'm going to call on our Fire Chief, Bobby Bennett, and Miss Emily Beeman. I think they have something they'd like to share.
Mr. Chris Wallace, come on up. Mayor and council, I stand before you tonight. My job as HR director for the city does not come very lightly. Being in human resources is tough in today's workforce. Some days I walk in and I'm scared of what's going to hit me today. Is it a new law being passed down from federal government? Is something changing? What aspect are we going to look for today? However, the most rewarding part of my job is seeing someone complete the entire life cycle as an employee and ending on a happy note. I certainly enjoy hearing about all the old stories from our retirees or the ones that's been with the city for a long time, or even battling it out because we're trying to move for progressive changes, but we always meet in the middle. Mr. Wallace has done a lot with the city. He began his career with the city December 4th of 2002, and he worked in the street department. 2003 and 2004, he advanced to a light and medium heavy equipment operator, but he began his true love in the fire service on April 8th, 2005, and that's where his journey began. Today, this afternoon, I had the privilege of joining the fire department as they celebrated the 19 years of service with Chris Wallace. You know, it almost brought a tear to my eye to see them stand around and tell stories and talk about how they're going to miss his laughter and miss his voice over the intercom or over the radio. Through his hard work, through sweat, I'm sure there were some tears along the way. He is now a family member to 42 other employees with the city, and that is the culture that I strive to have throughout the city in every department. They have one family member that is ready to spread his retirement wings, and we're standing here waiting to see what he's going to do. Him and his wife have lots of travels, and her and I have already got together today. His honey-do list is growing as we speak. So he is on his way, and Chris, we just want to present this plaque to you and tell you thank you for your service to the city of Tifton, and you'll be definitely missed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, shift over there so we can get a picture. There you go. Bring everybody up, Chris, if you want. Yep, come on. Chief, will you join? You want to join? Absolutely.
Chris, we just want to say how proud we are of you and thank you from the bottom of our hearts for your service to this town. I live down the street from the fire department, and when Chris is driving the fire truck, when he comes by, he always honks and waves and everything, and I love that. My grandchildren love it, and it's just, we just think the world of you, and we just wish you nothing but the best in your retirement, and we're going to miss you tremendously because you are a smiling face. You are a big part of the city of Tifton, and we're really going to miss seeing you at the fire department. So introduce us to your family. We want to know who you have with you.
This is my wife, Regina. This is my dad, right here. This is my mom. This is one of my daughters and one of my grandchildren.
Oh.
The other daughters couldn't make it because they had to work.
Okay. Well, we're just very proud of you.
You want to say anything? You want to say anything?
I just got a few words. I just like to thank the city for me working here all these years and putting up with me. But for real, I enjoyed every bit of it. And especially when I moved up to the fire department, me and this man right here, I ain't gonna say chief, this is my buddy right here, because me and him went to high school together, and I enjoyed every bit of it. He taught me a lot, we taught each other a lot, so we learned from each other, and I appreciate the service that the fire department gave me, the fun, and the memories I got of that is gonna last me forever. And I wish I could continue to keep going on for at least another 10 years, but hey, it's the time to go, it's time to go.
You do
But-
have that honey-do list.
Yeah, I got that honey-do list to do, but I enjoyed it, and I appreciate the city of Tifton, the Tifton Fire Department for everything. Thank
Well,
you.
You've done a good job. We're very
Thank
proud of you.
That's good. Stay right there.
Mayor, Council, I'd just like to say it hasn't been nothing but a privilege and an honor to work with Chris for these 19 years. As he said, we're classmates. We went to school together and we graduated together. So we've known each other for a long time. And when he decided to come over to the fire department, I was teaching for the fire academy also at the time. And I remember carrying him up there to the fire academy and watching him get started from day one until 19 years later. And I could say he is a great firefighter, without a doubt. He's one of a kind. He's very humble, as you could tell. He's got a wonderful family, definitely a God-fearing man, and definitely a God-fearing family. It's just an honor to have been able to work side by side with such a man as Chris Wallace. So I'm gonna miss him. Kind of envious of him, but you know, I don't think my job's is finished yet. So we've got a few more days, months, or years. We'll see. I'd just like to say thank y'all for the time. And as you said, like as earlier as Pete has got the retirement going in the right direction, isn't that what we're doing it for? So we can see days like this and see people that has given their life and their years of service to the city of Tifton and be able to go home and reflect and relax a little, but be blessed. So.
Thank you, Chris.
I've got one more presentation. Johnny Johnson. Johnny Johnson, in 1971, Johnny joined the Civil Defense, now known as EMA, and joined the Tiff County Rescue Team as an aspect of the fire department and began with the Tifton Police Department Auxiliary. In 1973, Johnny was one of the employees during the startup of Tiff County EMS, one of the first paramedics in Tifton, Georgia, right here. He was over training and was a rescue chief for several years for the rescue team and fire departments. He was a first aid CPR instructor. He led on to be a police academy and fire science instructor years to follow. Johnny was one of the first members of the scuba team, and over the 50 years of volunteering, Johnny was a volunteer chief for several years with us. He's currently still active and volunteering with us and responds to call and assists the department any way he can. So I just thought that it was time, and it was very well worthy. Someone that gives 50 years of their life volunteering for the city and the county and our community is just definitely worth being recognized. So
Absolutely.
we've got him a token of our appreciation. It's a leather fire helmet, fire service began back in the late 1600s, and their helmets were made of leather, so it's not something that you see much anymore because they're so expensive. But we put on there Tifton, 50 years of service, Johnson, so it's just been a pleasure and an honor to see someone give so much for nothing.
Right.
There's no money in volunteering, so he's definitely been a blessing for the city of Tifton and for our community for 50 years, and I know Johnny, he's going to go several more, so.
Well, thank
I'd
you,
just
Johnny.
like to say
Thank you so much.
Chief, huddle up here for a picture, if Jackie get it.
If I can get out of the mask. It's hung on my glasses. I go the other way.
Well,
Okay, it's on both glasses. We get it in a minute. There we go.
there you go.
Big surprise. I really wasn't expecting this. It's just been an honor to serve y'all. All the commissioners and the city managers that we've worked through, all the great chiefs. We got a super great chief now. It's just an honor. These guys and ladies and firefighters over here, it's been my honor. I disagree with the chief on one thing. I have been paid.
Friendships and relationships.
You know, back in our day, and this before any of y'all, but President Kennedy made a speech one time about ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do for your country.
And you did.
I've tried.
And you did, and you served us well, and we just are so appreciative, Johnny, very, very appreciative. And I know you personally, and you're a fine gentleman. We are so fortunate in the city of Tifton. Our public safety officials, our firefighters, our police department are just exceptional men and women. And we're so thankful for your service as well, yours and Chris's, for this, for what you've done for Tifton. So,
Chris and I remember when Chris started. He's still a rookie.
yes. Let's give you another round of applause. Thank you. And all of our firefighters, thank you all very, very much. Ernest, it's good to see you too.
Good to see you guys.
It is a family. Thank you, Chief. All right, Chris, we're going to be checking on you, see if you're checking all those boxes on that honey-do list, okay?
All right.
Okay. I'm going to be talking to your wife. Thank you all so much. Thank you all so much. It's a sad day when someone retires, but it's also a happy day. And I mean that we are so very fortunate to have not just the men and women of our public safety, but all of the city of Tifton that dedicate their time and their effort and their energy to making this community a better place, making our jobs easier. We're just so thankful for that, and thankful for the leadership of all of our department heads. So we wish Chris lots of success in his retirement. All right, we are going to move on with our agenda. We are on our resolutions category now, and I'm going to call on Ms. Dana Chansey to talk to us about the 2020 audit.
Mayor, before we do that, can you mind that we finish up on B, the downtown alley rehab?
Oh, I just skipped right over that.
That's okay.
Sorry about that.
That's
Never mind,
okay.
Dana.
I'll take that one.
Sorry. Okay.
I do not have anything prepared, but I wanted to give you just an idea where we are. I did secure Stacy Watkins to engineer this particular project. This is the entire alley, so it is not just for one project. We have reviewed this in depth. He is ready to look at that. The water lines are way undersized, so we're going to end up replacing the water lines on the entire length for growth. The sewer is in great shape, so that is going to be okay. The stormwater are probably the largest cost and probably the most complicated because of the narrowness and some of the where the fence meets the alleyway. So Stacy is prepared to do that. We'll probably work on that for a month, bring out a contractor, and then we're going to break it up into increments, putting in the water lines first, and then working on the stormwater from there with all the other utilities. But while we're doing this, it'll be simultaneously as phase 2 of the Nixon's project goes on. They're happy with that, and this is something that obviously it's new. We have not done this yet, but the DDA board is informed, and we're ready to go with that. And I will ask your tentative approval. This project is probably going to come in estimated about $500,000 after we're all said and done. So I'll need just a tentative authorization to move that forward, and I'll have some specific, probably it may be in June's meeting, but most likely July with specific, but this will be a SPLOST project, and it'll be a very, very good one. So I wanted to make sure you knew where we were and we're ready to launch this.
Okay. All right, any questions on this particular project? I do know, and of course Abby is here, if we have any questions specifically about this alley, but the amount of investment that's taking place there on that intersection of Highway 82 and South Main Street is significant. And it's really going to be a nice welcome addition, not only to our downtown, but to enhance what we're doing with our urban redevelopment area, and it just ties and dovetails very nicely together. So, so I'm excited about this. I know that our Downtown Development Authority is very excited about it. Certainly those people who own property along this area will open up investment and development opportunity for them. So any questions or comments that anyone has concerning the alley project?
I'm assuming that the DDA will contribute some of the funds, probably, maybe?
They've been good partners with us, and from Chestnut to Commerce Way to other projects downtown. I'm assuming so, and I'll be. That's why I wanted a tentative approval. I'll be seeking their input at their next meeting.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? Okay. All right. You got what you need, Pete, from us? So we're.
That's good. I'm going to take it to the next level. Okay. Thank
Perfect.
you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Now we will call on Ms. Dana Chansey to present to us the resolution accepting the 2020 audit.
Mayor, Council. This year's 2020 audit was a great learning curve for me and the staff. We've learned quite a few new things, and we had a few weaknesses, so we've tightened up the belt, and we have improved many different things already, implemented even during the audit process that we're going through. So I think we've really come a long way, and this year's audit should be a breeze for the auditors also, and hopefully we'll come out really good.
Okay. Sounds good. Any comments, questions of Dana concerning that audit?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. All right. Do y'all want to go ahead and talk about the resolution on the budget? You and Pete? You good?
I don't have anything
You
else to
presented
add.
everything. There's
Yes,
nothing else
yeah.
really to say. Okay.
Next thing we'll be bringing you is the digest, and again, you'll have to make a decision there, but
Yeah.
it really, I'm knocking on wood, it should not change the numbers in here.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right. Thank you, Dana. All right. The next item is a resolution granting enterprise zone incentives to the Yellow Monkey LLC for property at 359 Commerce Way. Jessica, you want to share that information?
Yellow Monkey has purchased a building on Commerce Way. They plan to relocate there after their rehab is completed. The project is expected to be around $200,000. It will create an estimated 6 jobs to the area. And based on their application, we're recommending awarding them based on the highest tier of incentives.
Okay.
That were provided in there. So they would be eligible for up to the 10-year tax abatement. It's been a few years since somebody has gotten that
Okay.
again, but they qualify.
They would qualify. Okay. Very good. All right. And that package of information and details about their project is in your package that Jessica sent to us, along with their budgets and everything, and the recommendation. Is there any question concerning the incentives for the Yellow Monkey LLC? It'd be nice to have that business downtown on Abbey. That'll be a nice addition to the downtown Tifton businesses. And again, that's going to be going on Commerce Way, which is what we just talked about with that streetscape. So again, just enhancing the development opportunities. So,
A lot of yogurt.
Hmm?
That's a lot of yogurt.
there's a lot of yogurt. That's exactly right. Okay, any other questions concerning the Yellow Monkey? All right, we'll move right along for a resolution for the general election to be held on November the 2nd. Rob, you and Jessica want to handle that?
I'll let Jessica handle that. I think
Okay.
she's got that in her packet.
Okay, this is just this year was our municipal election. At the beginning of the year, y'all set a qualifying fee of $277. It will be for council district 1 and 3, so that would be West Taylor's and Councilmember Terrell. The qualifying period will be the 3rd week in August. I believe it's the 16th. Yeah, August 16th, that week, it would begin at 4:30 p.m. on Friday. So this basically goes over the qualifying period and also the election to be held on Tuesday.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, any questions concerning the general election?
Yeah, Lisa's typing it now. Okay.
Rob, I
Yes.
know we've talked about, I guess we could talk about it at the next meeting, the possibility of package sales being on the ballot.
Yeah, Mayor, basically, last week, I had been communicating with some other GMA attorneys throughout the state. I did get in, some comments about a sample. Actually, Lisa's typing
Okay.
that this morning.
Okay.
So we'll be presenting that at the next workshop, and
Okay.
we'll be good to go.
Okay, excellent. So will be well within our parameters for our time frame to do what we need to do. Okay, excellent. Okay. The next item on our agenda is a resolution designating downtown's First Friday events as a festival. And I see Miss Abby making her way forward, so.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Pursuant to the City of Tifton's Festival District Ordinance adopted in 2017, the Main Street program does hereby request approval for a sip and stroll titled First Friday, scheduled for every first Friday of the month through the calendar year of 2021. In partnership with the Tifton Merchants Association and the downtown businesses, the Tifton Main Street program will be hosting First Friday events from 5 to 10 p.m. with desires to include a sip and stroll. This event will include live entertainment and promotional sales. The Main Street office and staff will ensure that all participating restaurants and establishments authorized to sell alcoholic beverages within the district will be informed of the guidelines and will receive cups and wristbands at no charge. The intentions are that this event will bring awareness and an economic boost to downtown Tifton and activate walkability. So I'm here before you to ask that on each first Friday of the month that we do have this festival ordinance so that people can have alcoholic beverages to go. They'll be placed in those clear plastic cups that have Tifton on them, and each person will receive a wristband and an ID check at participating restaurants. And we have one bar within the festival district that could also do this. We have intentions of building this event up and having all different kinds of genres of music, as well as different locations. We had one last Friday, which was the first Friday, but we did not ask for this. The Tifton Merchants Association initiated a little too late for me to come before you last month, so the first event, if you guys choose to accept this, would be July for this.
Okay. All right, I know a lot of other communities do these same type of events very successfully. I think with Rock the Block and some of the other activities that we have going on downtown will just be a nice addition to the events that we offer to the community and to our visitors and to help support our businesses. So any questions concerning the First Friday events? Okay.
Okay.
All right, good deal. Thank you, Abby. All right, Rob, the ordinance amending the city charter, I think that was just some housekeeping that would allow us to adopt ordinances upon the first reading. Anything you need to add on that?
No, Mayor. This was first introduced back on May the 17th. It's now being run in the paper, and it will be up for a final adoption on June the 21st.
Okay. All right, any questions concerning that? All right. Okay, board report in your packet. You can see that we have think we have several applicants. Rob, what do we need to do to move forward on the housing authority? I know we've been talking about that. We've got several applicants that would like to be a part of that. How do we need to, what do we need to do?
Well, Mayor, as you know, we have served a open records request. Unfortunately, the Housing Authority was not completely responsive, so we've asked Superior Court to look at that, to require them to give us the additional documents that we need. I do believe that, you know, there's been issues, and so I think that my understanding is that there is a process naturally to remove members or commissioners from the Housing Authority. Of course, that's something that's up to council. Basically, if there's a finding of insufficiency or neglect, that would be a means by which, you know, a commissioner could be removed. That generally requires a notice to that commissioner specifying, you know, the issues, and then council would have a hearing on that. So I know that naturally there's the process by which other commissioners can be appointed as their terms expire. If you determine that you would like to look at certain commissioners to determine whether or not they are still fit to sit on the board, certainly that would be something that you can decide to do, and just let me know, and then we can go through that process.
Would the hearing need to involve all of the authority members together or individually? How does that hearing take place, and how quickly, if we choose to move forward with the hearing, find that we need to replace board members, how quickly can that happen? Is that sort of a simultaneous removal and then and then appointment, or?
Let me just, it's just a short statute. Let me just read it to you so you hear it. It says, for inefficiency or neglect of duty or misconduct in office, a commissioner of an authority may be removed by the mayor, or in the case of an authority for a county, by the governing body of said county, provided that a commissioner shall be removed only after he shall have been given a copy of the charge at least 10 days prior to the hearing thereon, and shall have an opportunity to be heard in person or by counsel. In the event of the removal of any commissioner, a record of the proceeding together with the charges and findings thereon shall be filed in the office of the clerk. So if there is, the mayor is the one that appoints, the mayor is the one that removes.
Okay.
And then in order to have a hearing on the matter, there has to be 10 days notice and a identification of the issues that you want, you know, that you feel may require removal.
Okay. What I'd like to do is have you go ahead and schedule that. I think the document that we sent to the Housing Authority well over a year ago requesting that certain items be handled as it relates to safety and security and the condition of the buildings, et cetera. I think that's they've been given ample time to do something with that. They've refused to. So I'm ready to move forward. And let's go ahead and get that scheduled as quickly as possible.
Okay.
And my question is this too: if we remove the members of the Housing Authority, I don't want there to be no oversight. I want to make sure that we have a board in place that's ready to move forward. Are the existing members removed and new members put in place immediately? I don't want there to be any lag time, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, naturally, I would think, Mayor, that once you remove them, they're removed.
Right.
And it's not like you have this, they continue until their successor is assigned. So
okay.
I think that naturally it ought to be timed in such a way that there can be members, new members appointed in the event of the removal of the of other commissioners.
Okay, so those new members would need to be appointed in a public meeting of the City Council. Okay. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and move forward. I'm ready to have the hearing. If the council would like to be a part of that, I'll leave that at your discretion. If not, I'm prepared to move forward independently. We've got some real issues that we can no longer jeopardize the safety of our citizens.
Okay.
So, okay?
Can I ask a question of, I give a name, why would the Housing Authority contend that one of the applicants is not eligible?
I'm sorry.
Why would the Housing Authority contend that a certain applicant is not eligible?
In our board report, you know, we've adopted the new procedure of asking our boards to review applicants, you know, before we appoint them. Now, this is a little bit different in that I've always kind of shared this role with the council because I thought that was the right thing to do, but this is a little bit different. But we did ask that our boards review applicants, and in the case of one applicant, they have said that the Housing Authority has said that that applicant is not eligible.
I received an email from their attorney, and it's because he has family members. They said based on HUD regulation, he has family members that are employed by the Housing Authority. So that makes him not eligible. I don't know if anybody else has received that or knew that, but that's what they're
contending. Okay.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
I've never heard of that, yes, no.
I'll verify that.
Okay,
and,
please do.
I'll also work with Rob on the notifications. We'll do
Okay.
that, and then I'll work closely with y'all for the names, so we'll
Okay.
get this moving.
Because
But
we've never, you know, in the past, when we have appointed members, that's never been a question. I have a feeling that that's not been considered. So, there's an extreme amount of pushback here that I'm very concerned about. And, I think we just need to move forward with the actions that we have available to us as the council.
I'll verify that.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, any other questions on board report? That's the main one. I think all of our other boards are full. Is that right, Jessica? I know, I saw on the Grapevine, and then I've seen on the government channel, we do have several boards who will have terms expiring later in the year, maybe not right this second. So, as a matter of fact, I think just about all of our boards have terms that will be expiring at the end of 2021. So, as you go about your business.
HPC would be the one that has a vacancy.
What's that, I'm sorry?
HPC.
HPC, okay.
And I believe the zoning board of appeals, somebody's going to step down around September.
Okay.
Also needs somebody.
Okay, so just remind, as you go about working with your constituents in your districts, you know, anyone that's interested in serving, because we do rely heavily on our citizens to help us with these roles. I always just direct people to Jessica, and she's very good to share with them what you know, where they might be a good fit based on their experience or their education or their passions, and then bring that forward and work with us on that. So, all right, anything else we need to know on the board report?
No, you know, the new policy kind of organized it, but I have
Right.
been getting a lot based on our advertising.
Good, okay, very good. That's good. Okay, Pete, you want to go over the city manager report?
Okay, yeah, thank you, Mayor. I've got a number of things. First is the building code ISO grading update. I did provide you a copy of the letter I did receive 2 weeks ago from ISO, and you've heard this term before used in the fire side. The ISO is the insurance service where they come in, conduct reviews and audit on the fire department, but ISO also does an evaluation on building codes, enforcement, and properties. So this is done every 2 years now, and I did receive notice that they were in the process of evaluating. They were evaluating us, and that we've been notified that this assessment looks at a classification, just like the ISO and the fire department. 1 being really good, and then 10 being not so good. So the lower the score, the better. This letter confirms that they've completed analysis of our building codes for the city of Tifton, and with the partnership with Charles Abbott Associates to enforce the codes, this resulted in a Class 2 for commercial and industrial properties for the city of Tifton. This is remarkable for where we were to where we are now, but this is even bigger step for commercial and industrial property owners that should receive a very, very considerable discount with their insurance and their coverage. So this is pretty big for us.
It's really big.
Considering, 2 years ago, we started at a 6.9, then we went to a 6.3 for some, and now we're at a 2/3. So again, I can't say enough great things about this partnership and what we're doing now with codes and the certifications on how we're doing our business. It really has proven very valuable. So I wanted to share that with you, and we're going to obviously spread this news. But hats off to Ole Larson, who a lot of you've met, and Crystal with the department on what they're doing each and every day. So I'm really excited to share that. Number two, some more great news. The surplus sale was Saturday.
Pete, let me answer.
Yes, sir.
That's within the city of Tifton.
City of Tifton. City of Tifton, that's correct. Commercial and industrial properties. A code 2, a class 2.
That's fantastic. When we were going through all the separation with the county, I got real deep into it and learned a lot about ISO and the ratings and what they look for and everything. And it's a multitude of different things, like people say. And the 2 is fantastic. And the reasoning for our low number would also be where the position of our firehouses are, because they are strategically put there for that purpose, is to lower the ISO rating. And so, hats off to management of the past as well as the future or current management, because that forward thinking has paid off for our citizens. So.
Yeah, it's well, we rarely get wins for commercial and industrial property, so this is a huge win.
Yeah.
The surplus sale was Saturday. Big thanks to Jeff and Adam and Michael Mitchum for working hard to get these all the equipment and cars and things ready. It was a big sale. If you remember, we did this 2 years ago, and I think we netted out $80-something thousand. So it was a great sale. But Saturday, I looked at it. I showed up a little bit and saw the people with the trailers, and I said, well, it's going to be a really good event. And so 12:30 rolled around, and Jeff says, look, we got some preliminary numbers. And I said, yeah, what are they? And at that time, it was $195,000. So that was incredible. And I said, you sure? He says, we're sure. So the final tally, we're going to be over $200,000 for our surplus sale and for our stuff. So
That's great.
that was great, and great results on that one. The next is Rock the Block. I can't remember if Abby said that. Rock the Block is Saturday, so just FYI, I know Kirsten's pushing a lot of stuff out there, so just as a reminder. The next, I'm going to say it again publicly, and we're going to try to do this every chance we get, but our residents, community, City of Tifton, you need to lock your vehicles. I don't know how else to say that. Lock your vehicles. Again, we're seeing the cheap rings around again with entering autos, and it's just frustrating for the homeowners, frustrating for the police. So any chance we could get to pass the message on, please lock your vehicles. Any tips that anybody has, there's anonymous lines. Call the police department, call me, call the chief, and we'll be glad to help that. But we're still seeing some issues with that. And then lastly, I'm real excited to introduce Larry Lawrence as our CFO. Larry's first day is today, and he comes with a lot of valuable experience, and I'm excited to get busy with the financials and him just looking at what we're doing, how we're doing it. But Larry, thank you for being here, and we're excited to have you, and I'll be taking him around to meet everybody here real soon. So that is all I have for tonight, Mayor.
Okay. All right. If it's okay with the council, I think what we'll do, if y'all are okay with this, is we'll adjourn this meeting, go into our special called meeting for discussion, and then wrap up with mayor and council comments in that special called meeting, if that's okay with y'all. Y'all good with that? Okay. All right, that concludes all of the items to come before us for our workshop. So we will close out the workshop portion of the meeting, and I will call to order the special called meeting that has been advertised, and this is the discussion of the mask requirement in city buildings and reopening city facilities. So Pete, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council. I think everybody knows, where we are. The governor has released a lot of the restrictions, and what we need to know from you is if you're ready to release for requirements of wearing masks in city buildings and reopening from the bathrooms at the parks to facilities. And we are ready if you are. I think there's a lot of lessons learned, but I think still if you want to wear your mask, you certainly can. But the social distancing will probably still be in effect, but we need some guidance on the masks.
Okay. All right. Does anyone want to start the discussion, or?
I'm ready to take the masks off.
Me too, Wes.
And, it's been, the vaccinations of Tift County have been, I can't remember the percentage, but I know it was very high the last time that DPH came in here. That's wonderful news. And I'm excited about this day. This day has finally come. We knew it would come, but we didn't know when it was, and hopefully now is the time.
All right. Is that a motion?
That is my motion.
That is a motion. Okay, so we have a motion to open everything back up, no mask mandate within city buildings, and move forward. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All right, any further discussion?
I'm a
I mean, as a, I'd say, mask proponent, y'all can classify me. It's time. I did go in the library today and noticed they've taken their signs down about masks. Went in Food Line, and they were unique, I guess unique, but a little different. Said, if you've been fully vaccinated, masks aren't required. Now, I guess it's the honor system. If you haven't been vaccinated, then they're saying you should wear a mask, and which does say, okay, let's take them away and still encourage, get the vaccination, get that vaccine. Had a friend of a friend died last week, 65 years old, refused to take the vaccine, died last week of COVID. I mean, that speaks for itself. I mean, that's just, so anyway, if you hadn't gotten the vaccine, this thing isn't over. People are still dying every day. But I think we're at that point, there are a lot of vaccines, and people understand that it's time to move on.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion or comments? I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Let's take these things off. All right. We'll have the ceremonial mask thrown.
Like a graduation.
Like your graduation.
deal.
So, all right, mayor and council comments.
I feel strange. I feel strange.
I know.
I have something on my face?
I should have put some lipstick on.
Now you have to look, now you got
Now
to makeup.
I got to put my lipstick back on, that's right. Okay, who'd like to go first on comments?
I'll go first. I'll start off with a question. What, and this is with Peter or the chief or Rob, motorized vehicles, what is legal inside the city limits and what is illegal? As far as, I know golf carts are legal. Carla, I'm seeing four-wheelers, I'm seeing these dune buggy kind of thing. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of off-road type. Are those legal inside the city limits?
I think they're legal, but I don't know that they could be on the street.
If they're considered off-road vehicles, then they're not, like a four-wheeler can't be on the city street or anything.
Well, they're all over, and they're racing each other. And we either need to enforce that, and I realize, if you see it, I'm hopeful you'll do something about it, even in my district. But if we're not, then let's just make them legal and be done with it. But it's just in the last week, I bet you I've seen half dozen various things that should not be on the street. So, I think we need to make sure, and let's get them where they need to be.
Yeah, what time of day, do you mind? What afternoon or is it?
It was, oh gosh, Pete, I want to say afternoon. And this is adults driving, this isn't 18, 19-year-old kids, this is adults driving. So, I think we need to be on the lookout with summer, and people are now getting out, I mean, you know, so. And the other thing is around golf carts, and I struggle like yesterday when I see probably an 8-year-old driving the golf cart and their daddy's driving in the passenger seat. I mean, what, you know, and that's, somebody is gonna get killed. And I don't understand, would they let that child drive a car?
No.
And I don't think
hope
so.
not.
But, I mean, this is just happening, and I would ask Chief, your officers need to stop these people and ask them, how old are you? I mean, we either need to enforce it, otherwise, let's take it off. I don't like to have things on the books that we don't enforce. And if we really don't want to enforce it, let's do it.
Kirsten, could you, on our government channel and Facebook, all our social media, could you put some reminders out on golf cart usage, and that you have to be 16, you have to be a licensed driver and all the different things? So if you don't mind, and maybe that'll just kind of remind people.
And the police are going to start stopping you. I mean, they just think they won't do it. We also want to need to know what's legal and what's not, what motorized vehicles aren't legal. We need to put that, because a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I truly don't think they're intentionally doing something. You know, they just don't know, because I wasn't sure. So.
Right.
You know, I'll be honest with you, Jack, I've had that conversation with a couple of people about, you know, letting their kids drive and the dad sitting in the back, you know, in the passenger seat or whatever, but really, we have a lot of, and then now this is no excuse, I mean, but you do have a lot of long-term residents who have lived in Tift County, and they have stories of their grandpa letting them drive the Jeep or the truck on, you know, the dirt road or whatever. I mean, so you do have that, you know, kind of deal, but we do see the danger in it. I mean, I see it all the time over in the 40th Street area where they run stop signs, and that's where I guess the concern for safety is, because, you know, cars also are running stop signs left and right in that area, and you don't want to have a tragedy with a golf cart and a vehicle, because that vehicle is going to win every time, you know, and not only that, the individual that's in the car is going to have that, you know,
That's right.
unfortunate memory.
Yeah, several lives.
Yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, I like the idea, Kristen, of getting that out on the government channel and the Facebook pages as well.
So,
All right.
I'm good.
Anything else? Okay. All right. Mr. Terrell?
I'm good. I'm well, the way things are running. We seem to be getting along in moderation.
Yes.
Let's say, we are taking it and we're leaving it. But the main things are, we are doing something about a lot of things.
That's right.
Even this driving these golf carts and these motor vehicles, over on my side of town, we got dirt bags. I mean, them things are about to drive me crazy. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
You know, maybe from 8 o'clock in the morning to 2 o'clock at night. There's dirt bags that ran around. And the chief and I talked about it. He acted on some, and he took away the bikes and brought them down to the station. But it's just that dirt bags, we just got my street resurfaced. And those dirt bags, wheels tear it up again. Now, I just, that don't fly with me. I took 60 years to get those streets paved. Now here come a kid on a dirt bike and
tearing it up.
No, that don't fly with me. I think we should keep them going, take them off the street. And if you want to ride dirt bike, that's not dirt, that's asphalt. Go out the country.
Find the dirt.
Yeah, find some dirt and ride. But I thank the chief for taking care of that. And just call me when you, and I can put them in the backyard if you need to. But I think like, council, we went there.
What's that?
Get rid of the golf carts and all of that, just do away with the ordinance, so it's illegal to have them, period.
Nah, I don't think we need to go there.
That's a bit much.
We want our ice cream and cake too now,
Yes.
Chief, come on, man. I mean, let's be honest.
All right,
But
gentlemen.
we do stop them, and then we got a list of ones that's been worn and stuff. And then also, it's a little hard sometimes to tell the difference between a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old. So, and we just can't stop them because we think they're not old enough. We have to have something.
You can't, well, wait a minute. So you can't, because I saw one the other day just like that, and I couldn't tell whether she could have been 16, she could have been 13. You can't stop and say, how old are you? I mean, is that not, I mean, now they might lie to you.
We've always went with, we need a reason to stop somebody.
Okay, they might not be 16.
Articulable or either Rob, what do you think?
By a complaint? Well, I think that's.
Don't even tell me, Rob, that you can't stop somebody and ask them if they're not, are they 16?
All right, you're driving your automobile, and the chief stops you and asks how old you are. I mean, what's the reasonable suspicion that you're committing a crime? What's the probable cause to pull you over?
So cars and golf carts are the same thing?
Well, no, the law on probable cause is the same
So
thing.
if you saw somebody you thought was 15 driving a car, you can't stop them because you don't think they're 16?
If you have reason to believe that they are underage and they're driving, then you would have probable cause to pull them over.
That's a bunch of crap.
I could open that
You know
Pandora's
that.
box. I
If they're
mean-
not 16, you pull them over and ask them, are they 16?
I mean,
Jack, I thought you were a liberal.
yeah.
All right, all right, hold on. I'm going to defer to these two gentlemen over here for their comments.
And don't bring up golf carts.
And don't bring up golf carts, don't bring up any, or
We're not gonna
age.
bring up golf carts. I do want to, give a shout out to not only the fire department, but city management for that ISO 2 rating. That is big, and people don't understand how big that is, because if it goes up one, that means you're paying more insurance, so, hats off to you guys, for the fire department team, and you, Pete. That's a fantastic, rating. The second thing is I'm excited about this year's budget simply because over the past years, I feel like that we always put like, getting police cars or putting the fire truck in there, some sort of, this year we're actually, it feels like we're putting the employee first. And that's what, is very special about this year's budget. We've got a lot of good things going in for them, got the 3% raises. Obviously that's got to be voted on by council, but it's in the budget to be considered. And then we're doing some other things for their health and wellness as well. So, that is something to be very proud of. And I am proud of that, and I'm proud of that management team, proud of all of you guys for putting that in there for them and putting that employee first. So they do so much for us, and hats off to them.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
MJ?
I have nothing. Glad to see all this good progress that we working together to complete, and Tiffany's looking really good.
There you go.
You on a golf cart?
Stop. Stop. I'm gonna wrap things up here, and then we're gonna adjourn. Chief, I'm gonna have you booted out of this meeting. No, I just want to, again, congratulate Chris Wallace on his years of service to the city, and Johnny Johnson. Again, it's just so important to acknowledge the work that they do, and I'm very thankful that they are part of that. Pete and I've had the opportunity to have several meetings over the course of the last several weeks with different developers. We spoke to the Kiwanis Club the other day. We did have our meeting with our county commission chairman and the county administrator, and have scheduled another meeting. We're going to try to meet monthly to just have some friendly discussions and address some things that need to be addressed. So like all of you, it's just such an honor to serve. I feel like we're moving in the right direction, and good things are on the horizon. So that being said, if there is
Mayor?
no, oh, yes.
Excuse me.
Mayor, could I have executive session for legal matters for 5 minutes?
All right, I guess we will not be leaving just yet. I will need a motion to go into executive session for legal matters for 5 minutes. Make sure that's in the motion.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, okay, so we have a motion, is there a second? Second, okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, we'll take a little 2-second break and then we'll go into executive session.